God tells Moses to go to Pharaoh, the number one biggest slave owner in all of Egypt, and say to Pharaoh, "Set my people free, or else the Nile River will turn to blood. The fishies will die." And Moses is like, "If you want to turn the river into blood, just do it. Why do I have to tell him the fishies will die? Why all the drama?" And God says, "It has to be dramatic. This is the campaign to end slavery. It has to be catchy." So the river turns to blood, and Moses is like, "Bam, set my people free." The Pharaoh responds, "You," and he points to the Israelite slaves, "poisoned your own river." And God tells Moses, "Okay, all right, okay, I see how he rolls. All right, well, what about this?" And God makes it rain. Frogs. Slimy frogs everywhere. Heaps of stinky, dead frogs. And Moses goes to Pharaoh and is like, "Now set my people free." And Pharaoh is choking. He's like, "Screw you. I can't breathe." And God says, "Oh, I like that. I can't breathe. Let's remember that. That would make a good protest t-shirt." Moses asks God, "What do we do now?" So God cracks his knuckles and he says, "It's Juneteenth. Let Daddy take care of it." So God, the daddy of the Israelite slaves, sends plague after plague upon the Egyptians. First, he sends gnats, like all the dust of the whole land become these really annoying fruit flies. And then he sends giant house flies to cover everything. Then he puts boils on their skin, and then locusts, and then hail, like rocks of ice falling from the sky. And just 'cause Pharaoh said, "Y'all are doing this to yourselves," God makes all the plagues afflict only the slave owners, only the Egyptians. Nada, nothing, niet, zero, not a single plague touches any of the slaves, the Israelites. So all the animals of the slave owners just die, and none of the animals of the slaves die. Interesting. Now the Bible really focuses on Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and the government officials, the popo, the police. It doesn't focus on the slaves at all, because the slaves weren't really doing anything. They're just sitting there, like, "Wow, something's happening out there. Linus, Boaz, Ephraim." The Bible ignores the slaves, and it focuses in on how the government officials are reacting to this. Like the Supreme Court of Egypt, what are they going to do? The Bible says that God starts separating the slaves from the slave masters. God, the God of unity, the God of community, the God of together we rise. All of a sudden he starts to say, "I can't breathe. Enough is enough." And he orders the Israelite NFL team to kneel when they play the Egyptian national anthem at the Spartan Games. Something's happening here. God is creating a movement, not just within Egypt, but within the slave camps themselves. He's making a distinction between what is just and what is unjust, and between what is free and what is not free. The Pharaoh tells his slaves, "Your God is terrorizing me. What kind of God makes all of this mess?" And the Israelites are like, "No." And the Pharaoh says, "I can't breathe. What kind of God chokes people?" And the Israelite slaves were like, meanwhile, Moses trying to make all this swag, t-shirts and beer mugs and backpacks. And the slaves are kind of just like sitting there watching him. Like they want to be able, I mean, remember, they have been slaves for 430 years. So this is kind of a new idea to not be a slave. Like they want to be able to have picnics and go out into the wilderness and do their religious services. But freedom's kind of a stretch. Because first of all, they'd be homeless. They wouldn't have any money. And it was kind of like, well, where are we going to live? Are there any condos with swimming pools and camel parking, like after we're free? Or do we have to build our own houses? Because right now, I have a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath with its own Wi-Fi. Like we wouldn't mind, better working hours, maybe 2 more sick days a month. But homelessness? I don't know. So Moses has 2 jobs. He has to convince Pharaoh to set his people free. But he also has to convince his own people to be free. Now you really need to think here about what you want to break free. Remember what you wrote earlier? You're never the only one who wants to break free from the same situation. When you break free and you take others along with you, that's when you win. You never win alone. You win when you help others win with you.